Hello everyone, greetings from Copado. This is Mert, and welcome to Copado's first joint webinar starting the Welkin suite. As you would probably know, Copado is the leading release management solution for Salesforce, and the Welkin suite is a developer-friendly IDE with amazing features to help Salesforce developers. Together, we provide built-in Copado solution for better and easier change and release management. Right, so Welkin suite will start and they will show the solution they built on the Welkin suite application. So, all right.
Hi guys, and let me share my screen. I hope you see it. So, hi once more. My name is Vladimir. I am head of product at the Welkin suite, and I'm pretty happy to be here today with Copado guys. Thank you, Ivan, Mark. And we are pretty happy to introduce the built-in Copado support in the Welkin suite, like we've done this, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. And today I will show you how to bring the power of Copado, at least some of the initial power of Copado, into the Welkin suite, so you'll be able to do your regular development while still using Copado and tracking user stories and your changes right from the IDE. But beforehand, I will spend just, I believe, 2 minutes on explaining what is the Welkin suite for those of you who haven't heard about us previously, and I'll try to do this very short. So we started the IDE development about 3 or 4 years ago, and this was our pet project because we were not happy with existing tools for Salesforce. And now, about 100 releases afterwards, we have a team of about 15 people, and we are working on a full stack IDE for everybody. For administrators, for Salesforce developers, for those who are doing point-and-click development. So it's not only about writing code, it's as well about configuring your objects, doing automations, and a lot of other stuff. Everything under the single roof in one application. And our main goal, I'd say it's 2 goals. First of all, is to increase your performance, so you won't waste your time on doing day-to-day tasks. And the second one is to make your life a bit more comfortable, or at least your tasks a bit more comfortable, so you won't be annoyed with your tools, so you won't need to switch here and there with different applications. You'll get everything right in the IDE, as well as access to Copado, so your release management, your releases will be as well as smooth as possible. So let's jump off the PowerPoint and let's switch to the IDE, and I will show you, just give me a second. Yeah, I have it. So here we are right now in the Welkin suite. It's a Windows version. We also have a Mac version, but I'm truly Windows guy, so I will show you how to do this on the Windows version. And the same is available as well for Mac, of course. So just in 2 words, what we have here. So we have our Solution Explorer, where I have my local copy of the project. I grabbed it from one of my demo organizations. I have here test results panel that shows me my previous test runs. I have here code coverage details. I have here debug logs details. I have about 10 other different panels shown here, like Writing Bundle Explorer, Admin Panel, SFDX Organizations, Static Resources Bundles Explorer. But I'll enable the most important for us today panel. So I will go to View, and I'll find here Copado Tasks. I'll grab this panel. It's finally here. So I will, what I need to do here, just give me a second. Yep. So once you see it, it's pretty empty because it's not yet linked with your Copado organization, and we are not yet aware about where you're working with your Copado tasks and release management. So first of all, what I need to do is I need to connect the IDE with my Copado enabled organization. So I click on the login button. And here I need to provide my credentials or use WAUs for connecting with the organization. But first of all, I need to provide Copado API key. So I will go to browser, I am in that organization. I go to account summary in Copado app. Once here, I'll switch to the API key tab. I copy API key and I paste it into the IDE. I will use WAUs, so I hit next. Again, browser will ask me what organization to use. So I will use this one. It's okay. And it's as well okay in the IDE. Great. Once you've connected to the Copado enabled organizations, the IDE grabs the list of your user stories, And you are showing your short summary of them right here in the panel. So if you're working on something, if you need to work on something, you won't miss it. You won't need to go to browser, at least for this. And you can enjoy some of the more cooler features. So let's take a look what we have here. First of all, of course, I can click on any user story like number and it will be opened in the browser. So I will see what exactly I need to do as a part of the user story. I see, okay, it's like on my sandbox, blah, 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 all of the stuff. Lots of not filled information because it's just a dumb user story, but I believe in your cases, you have a lot of details in your user stories. Also, I can see here status and story points tracked for the, estimated for each of the user stories. So let's say I'm a developer and I'm starting working on a new task. So what I will do here, I will click on my story. I will change status from backlog to in progress because I'm a good guy. I will track the progress as I do. Now I will hit on the upload changes button. So the progress, the status will be updated on the organization. So if I go back to my browser and if I refresh the page, we can see the status is in progress. But it's not the main thing. The main thing for us is to start tracking our changes. So what exactly I have done here, so I will be able later to do a commit in Copado. So we have a bunch of buttons here, and I will use one, restart tracking changes or start tracking changes. So I hit this button, and starting from this point, the IDE will track whatever I have changed as a part of my project. So the interesting thing is that my project is tied up with organization like Dreamforce 16 demo. Yeah, it's 2 years old. And at the same time, this user story in Copado, this one is with dev as by v11. So let's check this story. Yeah, so this user story is tied up with, like, I have org credential for the same organization. So my user story number 1 is tied up with this organization that I'm working in the IDE. So I'll get back to the IDE. I'll fix some ads that I've done. So I'll change this one to in progress, but this one to backlog, and I will re-upload my changes. Why I'm doing this? Because the IDE tracks and compares org credentials. And for example, if I was working on the organization DF16, and if my task is linked to another organization, the IDE won't allow me to commit the changes to Copado. So let's start doing something. So for example, I can open any of the Apex classes that we have. Let's open this one. And by the way, you can see our great Apex editor. We have built everything local here. So the code completion, all of the functionalities that you'd like to get as a part of your Apex editor is available here. It's available immediately. So I even don't need to do anything. I can, I don't know, do some stupid things here. Email, yep. No. I don't know, do something very strange here, do some random changes right in my Apex. I can switch, move on, and open any Lightning application, any Lightning bundles that I have in the IDE. And what's cool in our editor is that we provide you the built-in previewer. So in the lower part of the screen, I can see subtabs for all of the items of the bundle, while in the upper part of the screen, I can see the real preview of my component or application. Of course, we have code completion for everything inside of the bundle. It can be as well for markup in component or documentation or design. It's of course applicable to the JavaScript and controller renderer helper. And for sure, it's available for CSS, and I will do a change in CSS. So let me change the color of this bar from yellow to something nicer. Let it be green. So I will do changes. I will upload my changes to Salesforce to ensure that everything is good. It of course takes some time. Okay, it doesn't allow me, so I have failed. We have a syntax error, a compilation error, so I will fix the error and I will try building once more. Once this is done, once changes are successfully applied to Salesforce, the IDE will immediately refresh the preview for me. And I will see that my bar will become green, I believe. Okay, it's green now. Let me do some another change. For example, I can open any of my S objects. That will be account. Once I open my account object, I can see the full list of fields that I can modify in the IDE. So let me update a bit my pick list for active. And let me, for example, remove this maybe pick list value. Also, I can change the description. So I can even add some new field, but I won't do this. I don't care about them right now. I can go to layout section as well, and I can modify some layouts because I'm doing a very complex task, and I believe I will need to update my layouts. So I will change all 4 layouts, and I'll set the same settings for this field for all of my 4 layouts. And I believe as a last step, as I'm a good developer, I will go to one of my favorite unit test classes, and I can see that we have at least one method failing here. So what I will do, I know where is the issue exactly, because I've broken it previously. I will fix this unit test, and I will go to build, I will go to build and run tests. This will send all of the changes to Salesforce, and as the IDE will detect unit test, it will immediately execute it, so I will ensure that it's working okay. Yep, I know that, like, of course, you can do this in Copado, but as a good developer, anyway, I need to ensure that first of all, when I'm pushing something to the organization, it should be working. So if I know that there is a failing unit test, I need to fix it. So you see that build succeeded and the test run is in progress right now. So once it will be green, I will, okay, it's not green. I have another test method failing. So let's go there. What is that method? Here it is. Okay, I don't care about it, but at least I fixed this one. You can even see this result in the editor on the margin. So everything is good except for this test, but okay, I don't care about it. So I'll get back to the Copado tasks. And so what we can do here, I have 2 more interesting buttons. So first of them is show difference. And once I hit this button, I will see what exactly differences are between the moment when I started tracking changes and till now. So I see changes in my lightning bundle. I can click on any of them to see the diff view right here in the lower part of the screen. Where is it? Show me the difference. What a good demo without any issues. Yay! Okay, give me a second, guys. So I'm reopening the IDE, I'm reopening my project, and the IDE as well refreshes data about the Copado tasks in the Copado tasks panel. So, okay, it refreshed it. So again, let me take a look at the differences. I will see my differences. Let me try to see the difference in my Apex class. So once I click on it, I see the built-in diffuser. I see what was changed here. I can do this for another class. I see that I've just added one dump line here. I have done changes in my account object, and due to some reasons, it won't show me changes to the lightning bundles. So, okay, let's keep this for now. So once I'm really done with all of my changes, once I'm happy to commit my changes to Copado and share this with my teammates and, let's say, like, promote it to other environments, I will close this difference viewer. I will select my story, and I hit on the commit button. Again, it's almost the same. So I just need to select what exactly items I have modified. So I will select everything. Again, here I see the same difference. Now I just need to enter my commit message. So webinar commit message. And I just hit commit. At this point, these changes were committed to both Copado, like through Copado to my Git repository. And I believe a couple of seconds they will appear in Copado. In the meantime, I will change the status of my user story from in progress to, let's say, ready for testing, and upload these changes as well. Also, as I'm happy with my changes, I will stop tracking, so the IDE won't do anything with all of my further changes. Now I will click once more on this story to see it opened in the browser. I can see the status is ready for testing. And if I scroll down to the Git commits section, I can see my new webinar commit message. I can see my commit, so I can go here. I can open it in Git. By the way, I don't have access to the Git repository, but thankfully Copado has, so I know that my changes are in Git repository. And starting from this point, you can start doing all the magic that you might do in Copado with these changes. So you can promote them to other environments, you can execute automated tests there, you can run static code analysis, you can run compliance scan, and do all of the stuff that Copado provides you. Or maybe some other person in your team might do this, while you'll get back to your IDE, grab another task, change its status to in progress, and start working on this task without even thinking about Copado. Yeah, sorry, Ivan Mark. But you can just keep working and you won't need to switch to browser to do most of your day-to-day tasks related to Copado. So this was very high-level overview from my side, guys, and this is how you can start easily working with Copado from the Welkin suite. While of course it doesn't cover all of the great features of Copado, and you still need and can do lots of cool things directly in the browser. But I believe in the meantime, we'll keep working with Copado, guys, and we'll extend our integration together. So you'll get more and more cool features of Copado right in the IDE. And I'll be happy to answer your questions right now. And if you have any of them, just let us know. In case if you have more questions in the future, just feel free to reach me out on Twitter or go to the Welkin Suite website. So it's right here. Download the Welkin Suite, try it yourself, try connecting it with your Copado instance, and see how your workflow might get better with two great tools altogether. Okay, we have. There is a question, I believe it's more to Ivan or Mark. Does Copado support SVN? To be honest, I don't know.
All right, let's answer Copado related questions at the end of our demo. If you have any questions to Welkin suite, we'll try to answer them.
Okay, cool question from Christy. Thank you for it. So are you looking to do more with Copado in the future? For example, branch management in Welkin or visualization of branch management? Being honest, we'd like to. So we haven't talked with guys in more details on what would be our next steps, but I believe that we all will enjoy increasing our cooperation together. So I think that we'll keep working together with Copado and we'll bring some of the new and cool features of Copado to the Welkin suite. And what exactly it might be, again, as we haven't yet started thinking about next steps, I'm not sure that we are able to predict, but anyway, it will be something pretty cool. Okay, so let's wait for a couple more minutes for any more questions. We have a comment again from Christy. It will be really cool to have also the ability to add dependent files from Welkin to the user stories. Absolutely agree. And dependencies, it's a pretty interesting topic in Salesforce itself. So right now we are working and we are going to release in the next version of the Welkin suite find usages for Apex. So you'll be able to very easily see where your Apex code is being used in other classes. And at the same time, we have admin panel, things especially for Salesforce as administrators or those who are doing declarative development. And what we have pretty cool here is that I can right click on any field, let it be name, and I have field usage report. So it's a pretty cool thing. It looks in different metadata like approval processes, email templates, layouts, subjects. It's not yet complete list of things to check out, but we are evaluating your expressions, we are looking in email templates, and we are showing you all the possible places where your fields are used. So these are some of the first steps for us to analyze dependencies. And I believe as we'll do more and more steps in terms of finding dependencies, we also should be able to include these dependencies as a part of the commit into Copado. So you've done some changes to a couple fields, and at the same time, we'll include all other dependencies as we can, as we know about them. And by the way, as I'm here, the admin panel is like a dashboard for all of the declarative development functionality. You can see here fields, you can see here layouts, you can see your different workflows, you can create or modify your validation rules. And we even have a built-in code completion editor, a code completion enabled editor for validation rules. So you don't need to remember all of the functions, you don't need to remember all of the API names of your objects, the ID knows about them, and it will help you writing your nice validation rules and workflows right here in the editor. Okay, we have one more question. So regarding licensing. So in case if like Copado and Welkin Suite are different products, so licenses are not shareable or interchangeable. So still you need to have the Welkin Suite license to work with the Welkin Suite, and you need to have your Copado license to work with Copado. I believe in any case, if you don't have any of these licenses, you can get your Copado trial on Copado website or the Welkin Suite trial on our website and try it out yourself. So I think that's all from my side, guys. Anyway, if you haven't yet tried Welkin Suite, try it out on our website, welkinsuite.com. It looks exactly this way. And you have a free 30-day trial. I'll be still here online with guys. So if you have any more questions afterwards, just feel free to ask them in Zoom. And at the same time, yeah, just feel free to email anybody like info@welkinsuite.com or email me or find me in social media, and I'll answer your questions later. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Ivan, Mark, and I'm stopping sharing my screen and passing it to you.
All right, thank you so much, Vladimir. It was a great demo. And thank you for all the questions. Now let me share my screen for the Copado demo. All right, so let me start with the Copado part. So as I mentioned in the introduction, Copado is a release management application. And now we are releasing our version 11. And with version 11, Copado DX will be available, and Copado DX is built around Salesforce DX. It's a complete solution in order to make your developer admin life easy with Salesforce DX functionalities. So in Copado, we are managing releases with this beautiful graphical view of the Diploma Flow. It's a branch management page, and main goal in here to streamline your user stories from your developer environments to your production environment seamlessly. And these developer environments can be stable sandboxes, developer orgs, or scratch orgs with the DX functionalities. And before you start working with basically DX, you need to plan your own way of working with DX. That's why Copado will be here to help you. You need to define some certain, let's say, certain ways to work with it. The first step would be the artifact creation. Copado will be here to help you for artifacts as well. I'm sorry. And for artifacts, we have two types currently. The first one is Git artifacts, and the other one is unmanaged package artifacts. Currently, Salesforce is releasing unlocked packages. It's currently in beta. When it's released, when it will be GA, we will also support that as well in here. And managing your artifact metadata is quite easy. We have a metadata grid in here, which gives all the available metadata that you have in your source org. And in this sense, available means only in, let's say, only not selected metadata will be shown in here. In Salesforce DX, one metadata can live in one artifact and one artifact only. So if you select something in here and save, that selected metadata will not be shown in any other artifact. And when you start selecting, your selected metadata will show up in the selected metadata section. And once you save, Copado will commit your selection into the given Git repository. Once you have your artifacts ready, you can create as many artifacts you want. Once you have your artifact ready, the next step is the creation of org definition template. We have this template in here in order to help developers and admins, and because most of the developers and admins doesn't know what features or what org preferences they need to select to work on a scratch org, because Salesforce has a lot of features, org preferences, and all these is a little bit overwhelming to know. That's why we have these templates in here. Let's say the project manager or system administrator or a release manager who knows what to select, who knows how to replicate the production environment, they can basically build this template and developers can leverage that. Let me show you a created template. All right, you can always update or clone your templates by using the Manage Definition Template section. And as you can see, the selected template has API and outer apex feature enabled, chat enabled, and the lining enabled for the Scratch org. Once you have these templates ready, the next step is creating a project template. And project templates are basically defining a set of metadata for specific purposes. Let's go into Git artifacts. Consider I'm a sales department developer. I'm working with sales guys. And in here, I have my source org, and I have lots of artifacts. Since I'm a sales guy, I only care sales metadata. I don't really bother myself with the property management artifact. So that's why in this template, let's say sales template, I just need core, because this core artifact contains all the dependencies we have between these two artifacts, and then the sales. As you select your artifacts, Copado gives you the preview of your artifact metadata, and this preview can be filtered by type. You can search the name of the metadata that you are looking for, and once you are sure, you can set the API version, or if there is a namespace, you can define the namespace, and then you can save this as a template. Again, developers will be leveraging that. Let's jump into the developer part. Developers will be assigned to a user story, and on Copado, user stories are where technical and business people can contribute on a single page. Because we have lots of fields in here, some of them points technical guys, the other ones are actually created for the business people. So basically, developers will review the user story, they will understand and know what they need to do, and they can spin up a Scratch org in order to develop this user story lightning fast. Copado has this wizard in here, and the wizard has a 3-step process. The first one is the org definition. As I mentioned in the template, as a developer, I don't know what to select, so I selected this template and everything is automatically selected. And in the next step, we need to select the metadata that we need to work on. We can leverage all these source metadata types. We can work with Git artifacts or unmanaged package artifacts, or if we need to patch an existing version of our system, we can patch release by leveraging Git tags. Copado now uses Git tags. If you have a release associated with your user story, and if that release has a version tag, Copado will tag your changes by using that version tag on your Git repository. And the next one is branches. In Copado, we have a strict branching strategy. For user stories, for features, we create feature branches. So if you want to create a Scratch org to fix a feature or enhance a feature, you can create your Scratch org out of a feature branch. The other branch type we have is a project branch. Project branches are being created for a Scratch org. So project branches are the representative branches for a Scratch org. So if you want to extend the duration of your Scratch org, or if you want to basically continue working on a Scratch org, you can create your Scratch org out of another Scratch org by using the project branch. And the other type we have is the promotion branches. Whenever you promote your user stories from one environment to another, Copado creates a promotion branch. They can be considered as release branches. So if you want to train your people before you actually release your changes into your production, you can create a Scratch org for training purposes by using the promotion branches. Or if you want to do a release testing, you can create a Scratch org out of a promotion branch. The last one is metadata. So if your org is suitable to or big enough to work with Salesforce DX, you can clone your entire org into metadata without worrying about breaking down your metadata into artifacts or branches. These are the types we have. So let me go into Git artifact and select the template, the XML. All right, so as you can see, the selected artifacts are shown, and all the metadata that I have in these two artifacts are displayed as well. And after I'm done with the metadata selection, the next step is the reviewing and completing my Scratch org creation. So on top, we can see the deployment flow. Deployment flow is the first graphical view that I show. So you can automatically add a Scratch org into your deployment flow by selecting the deployment flow step in here. So when the Scratch org is created, your Scratch org will be pointing to integration environment, and then you can start working on it. The next section in here is the permission set assignment. So while you're creating your scratch work, you can basically select which permission sets you need to assign to your scratch work user. And then once the scratch work is created, this permission set will be assigned to the scratch work user, and there will be nothing else to worry about. They can start working on it. Before you actually hit on complete setup button, you can review what you have selected in the org definition or for the org metadata. And if there is something wrong, you can always go back and correct that. And then you can come here to click on setup. So let me sum up what's going to happen if they click on setup button. Copado will create a scratch org. And during the creation, Copado will enable all the features that are selected in the org definition. And Copado will also enable the org preferences or disable them by using your selection again. And then it will load the metadata by using the metadata selection. And then it will create a deployment flow step for your scratch org, assign all the permission sets to your user. And then Copado will also get a Git snapshot copy of the scratch org into a project branch to initialize your scratch org in your Git repository. So you will never lose what you have done. And then your developers will be able to start working on it. What's going to happen after you create the scratch org? You can manage your scratch orgs by simply reviewing this from the Copado DX panel. We have active scratch orgs or deleted scratch orgs. If a scratch org expires, they will show up in the deleted scratch org section for a limited time. So you can, if you need to work on that, you can take an action and clone it by using the project branch. And this is again the Copado DX panel for a scratch org. As you can see, this scratch org name is no details because I don't have any details for the scratch org yet. If I want to get details, I can simply click on get org details, and after that I can click on generate password, because scratch orgs are created with a access URL only. They don't have a valid password. If you want to authenticate your scratch org with an IDE like Welkin suite, you need to create a password for your scratch org, and then you can simply go and log in or authenticate with an IDE like you always do with the stable sandboxes. After you click on those buttons, the scratch org details will be shown like this. These details basically gives further information about your scratch org. Your password will be shown in here as well. And if you want to open your scratch org with a single button click, you will be able to open it. If you want to click delete your scratch org, if you don't need this scratch org anymore, you can click on delete scratch org and it will be deleted immediately. For these three buttons in here, not exactly the password, the entire password section and these two buttons has a strict security around it. So if you want to see these three, you need to be the owner of this record or credential record. Otherwise, they will not be shown, so nobody else will be able to log into your org or delete your org. All right, so this is the extension part for your scratch orgs. Even if Salesforce DX capabilities are not enough for you to set up your scratch org, by using Copado deployments power, you can extend Salesforce DX capability. You can simply execute Apex anonymous scripts to add business hours and public holidays. These are not available with Salesforce DX. You can migrate data. You can add manual tasks as a reminder. You can put more metadata, supporting metadata in this case, or if you have an integration user which you depend on, you can migrate your integration user as well. And all these step types will be available for you to leverage by using Copado Power. So after you create and extend your scratch org, you should start working on it. And after you work, as Vladimir showed, you need to commit your changes. This is our commit screen. And in the commit screen, you can do more than commit. So with v11, you will be able to commit, recommit your files, do distractive changes. You can commit full profiles and full permission sets. And also undo commit feature will be coming really soon. So in here, let's say we need to commit our changes. We can select our changes manually. We can always filter, sort by the last modified date to make sure we are selecting correct metadata. Or we can click on check org status, which will give us all the affected, all changed files in our system, remove that, remove changed, or if there is a deleted file, it will be shown in here as well. After you make sure your changes are there, you can simply click on select the exchanges, and all those changes will be selected automatically. And in here, again, you can give a demo comment, you can give a commit message, and then you can click on commit changes. At this point, Copado will commit these changes into the project branch of a scratch org, and also since this user story, since this scratch org is associated with the user story, it will be these changes will be committed into feature branch as well to save them in an isolated branch. After you commit, if you are done with your user story, you can enforce some quality gates. You can validate your user story against the deployment from scratch org to integration environment, since the integration environment is the next step. You can execute Selenium testing for automated regression testing purposes. You can execute static analysis to check if there is a code quality issue or a security issue. You can execute compliance scan, and you can create a pull request with a single button click. Copado will track your pull requests from your repository, and it will be stored in your Salesforce orgs. So you can basically create your own definition of done. You can create a report out of these and make sure everything is in the correct place, everything is safe and sound, and ready to go to the next environment. The other quality gate we have is the Apex code. So if you have an Apex code committed to your user story, Copado will automatically identify it, and this has Apex code checkbox will be checked. Therefore, this minimum Apex code coverage 75% will be enforced, and this 75% is not hard coded. You can manage it on the environment level. One more thing for v11. So let's say you have done some changes on the Apex class you have. You fixed something. You didn't do anything with the test class, so you don't need to commit it. But you need to make sure your minimum Apex code coverage is about 75%. So basically, you can come here and add the test class without committing it, and it will be added as test only in here. While executing the test run, or while deploying this user story to the next environment, this test run will be executed as well. Once you execute, you can see the Apex results in here as a summary. Class coverage, theoretical coverage, all the methods that are executed will be shown in here. And one other thing we have is the test scripts. These are the manual functionality testing for the user story. So your developer, or if you have a test engineer, they can basically define a test script, and they can assign a test run for their colleagues for different purposes. Once you go into test run, you can review what you need to do in the test steps. And then if you want to execute your test, you can directly execute it. But you need to know where you need to work on, where you need to test it. In this purpose, you can simply create a test scratch org with a single button click. This test scratch org will be created out of the project branch of an original development environment. So everything will be there. As a tester, you can execute your test. And then after you complete your test, this scratch org will be disposed, and there will be no limit consumption on your scratch org limit. So basically, we have tested our user story. Everything is in place. Now we need to promote that user story from the scratch org to the next environment. In here, our goal, basically, what we believe is a feature which stands on a developer environment does not add any value to anyone. So that's why we have Copado release management, basically. So in here, we will promote our changes from the sandboxes, from the scratch orgs to the integration environment. The only thing we need to do is to click on this arrow in here. It will open the promotion panel. And in here, we will be able to see all the user stories ahead. Or if there is a deployment error, Copado will automatically show it to you, because whenever you calculate this flow, Copado executes a validation deployment, and you will be able to see the deployment errors beforehand. And if there are file differences, auto-resolve conflicts, merge files, they will all be shown in here, and you can select and promote your user stories to the next environment seamlessly. And if there is a problem, if there's a merge conflict during the promotion process, Copado will pause it, and then you will be able to resolve them right in Copado without even leaving the Copado application. So in here, as you can see, we are using Git-like tags. So the only thing you need to do, you need to remove the unnecessary part, and then you can simply save it. Once you save, Copado will respect your resolution, and while promoting your changes, Copado will use this result version, and then there will be no more conflict problem. Apart from that, Copado is highly scalable. We are capable of managing millions of metadata. We can manage more than 1,000 environment in one deployment flow. So it doesn't really matter how big or complex your organization is, Copado will be there to help. All right, so this is what we have for v11 and for Copado in general. If we have any questions, I'll be here to answer them.
In the meantime, I just wanted to say that it really looks great. Really everything starting from DX and up to this diagram that you're showing right now.
All right, yeah, correct. All right, so same question, does Copado support SVN? Unfortunately, we are not supporting SVN, we are only working with Git. What's the purpose of Scratchwork and why and how it's useful? Scratchworks are basically clean work and test environments, and you are working with the metadata that you need. You don't need to work with entire metadata set of your org. And in this sense, creating of a Scratchwork is really fast, and then these are disposable, so you can use Scratchwork to test a new feature, investigation purposes, for training purposes. There are unlimited reasons to use Scratchwork, basically. Is there anything we need to do in Copado to activate v11? You basically need to upgrade your current version to v11, and then you can follow our upgrade instructions to enable all our features. Is Copado planning on developing plugins for Visual Studio Code? Currently, we don't have any plan about it, but we may consider it in the future.
Use Welkin, guys.
Will the Copado DX slide be available after the presentation? Copado DX slide, we have a slide for the Trailhead DX. I'm not sure if we put it anywhere, but we will share this demo after it's as soon as it's available. Is undo commit expected to target the next release or afterwards? Basically, undo commit is almost done. Basically, we are currently beta testing it. When the beta testing is completed, we will release it immediately. How does changing anything link field level permission in Sandbox will reflect the Git branch? I'm not sure if I understood the question completely, but let me explain how we are managing field level and object level securities during commits. Basically, while you are committing a field, you can select the permission set or the profile you want, and Copado will take the field level security information or object level security information, and it will be committed into your feature branch. While you are promoting, only those field level security and object level security information will be deployed to the destination environment. When creating a Scratchwork, does it count against our branch management licenses? That's a great question. Since Salesforce DX is completely free, and since we don't know how many Scratchworks you may create or you may need, Copado will not charge anything for the Scratchworks in terms of branch management licenses. Is it possible to get in the beta testing? We are actually almost done with the beta testing, so we will release it really soon. Instead of getting into the beta testing, you will be able to test it by yourself with the latest version. How does changing anything in Sandbox will reflect in Git. Basically, while you're committing your changes, Copado will commit them into your Git repository, into the dedicated branch for an org, or into the feature branch. So this is basically the continuous integration part while doing it, while committing your changes. So everything will be reflected in Git. We use Git as source of truth all the time. If we refresh the sandbox, do we need to delete Git branches and recreate those Git branches? Basically, you don't need to, because when you refresh sandbox, you can keep your org branch in sync by using our difference calculations, or basically while you are working, your environments will be in sync all the time if you follow the process. So you will not need to do anything after you refresh. Vladimir, I think the last question is for you, but I can answer it.
Yeah. So in general, like in the current way of implementation, like the Welkin suite tracking for sandboxes and for like scratchers, so we have like separate type of projects, and it's working in a bit different way, and I'm not sure that like it will fit exactly to the model that guys were showing for Copado. So I believe that if you're working with Copado, and if you set up such cool project and process with DX orgs in Copado, you can still connect to them using password and login, and everything will be tracked as usual in the Welkin suite.
Sorry, I was talking to myself. The last question says, does Copado DX provide any SFDX command line interface commands to be part of deploy process deployment tasks? Basically, what we do in Copado DX is leveraging all the Salesforce DX command line interface commands. And as long as Salesforce keep releasing new commands, we will also include them as well. Currently, for the deploy process, we basically use pull and push during the commit and also the metadata load. But for deploying, we follow our own logic, our Copado logic, in order to deploy your changes from your scratch org into the stable sandbox. What we leverage is, since we use Git as source of truth all the time, the project branches, the branches that represents scratch orgs are in Salesforce DX format. The file format is totally different than metadata API format. What we do is, while promoting your user stories, we convert them automatically for you, so you don't need to worry about anything else. All right then. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for your attention. I hope you find this webinar useful. And as I said before, we will be sending a recording as soon as it's available. And if you missed anything, do not hesitate to contact with us or with Welkin Suite. We will be here to answer all your questions, all your, let's say, all the problems you are currently facing without Welkin Suite or without Copado. We will be here to help you.
Thank you very much, guys, for your time and attention, and have a great day.
Right. Thank you again for joining. Have a great day.